Well, let's talk about that. Oh,
Now, I would like to put this out there, as you said. At that age, becoming the new leader, everyone, of course, either surprised, outraged, or just opportunistic. They will see ways to try to test your limits. They'll see if you can be pushed, if you can be pulled, and if you can be directed, or if they could get away with this or certain things. Because you are the new leader.
you're vulnerable because they don't know your character.
Indeed. Which means they take many things, and they will do whatever it would take to further their own goals, whether it be against me or with me, or even using me. So that is what happens with every single leader. It is the gauntlet, so to speak, that you are thrown through in order to achieve the right to rule. It has been around, even if it's changed, but it is still in effect in today's world. Because no one wants to be led by an emperor who is meek, mild, or
Well, we know what happens.
unresponsive.
We know what happens with that. What Caligula was one of them, right? So, but anyways, that's a different topic.
So at that age, you can guess that pretty much putting through the grinder, you're
going to either survive or not.
And that's the way it has been.
And then that's a good segue into from the politic to how pretty much that you had tasked yourself to realize, okay, you're not going to win over the Senate. You know that there's still conspirators who are out there who still did not want another dictatorship and were opposed to even your connection with the Caesars, and being part of that impact, that you realize, or I don't know, were you told that the key to winning over people in the military were to make friends with the demoralized veterans, as I've read, people who had been loyal to Caesar and when he was murdered were kind of left out adrift without financial support. How did you know that that was the way to make that friend and that was your support base through that military?
Let me put it to you this way. If Rome were attacked when I was emperor, who do you think I want standing by me?
You want veterans who have experience. And probably people who are enthusiastic and believe in you and are willing to put their lives on the line for the greater good, right?
Just like an emperor must be willing to sacrifice himself for the masses. It is that way that we both serve Rome. You see, I would trust my back to these veterans because I know what they've gone through. Because I myself have, some experience in dealing with the military, whereas politics was completely new to me at the time. You see, not only would I trust that soldier, but I would not trust the politician who would likely stab me in the back in peacetime anyway. You see?
Well, did you realize the key to the soldier's loyalty was it through money, through promise of security and financial support for the soldier's family?
Well,
what was it?
Not only that, but acknowledgement that they are worthy because they have served their country.
And to continue for its survival and for the betterment of it, then wouldn't it be that you, besides the money aspect, you'd have to convince them of an ideology of a way of this state, this Roman state, this big, huge empire is worth preserving and evolving?
Yes, but not only that. You see, it is always easier to protect than it is to destroy. And that is what motivates people. Because they have families, they have loved ones that they need protected. And if we can promise their safety in Rome or any of its protectorates by their service, then they will serve gladly. And any financial benefits are just a bonus at that point. You see, it is that mentality that roots back into your instincts as a human. It's your survival, and the survival of all that you care about.
And so that comes hand in hand. The guarantee of survival, or the promise of survival, wins loyalty and behavior of the leader. I mean, how does that work from when you were trying to bring a unity between veterans and newbies, and trying to show you have a way to back up your intentions on to lead and to protect Rome, protect the people? How hard was that to control that energy, that mindset? You know, you had to feed the army, you had to pay them, you had to house them, but then at your back you had all the politicians, the scheming, the mudslinging, and you were right in the middle of it. How do you manage that push and pull in the center of the storm?
Here's an old saying that Julius Caesar told me. You do not look over your shoulder, because that proves that you're scared. And a leader who is seen as scared is more likely to be struck than one who is shown them not to be.
But that didn't mean that you weren't aware of what was going on behind your back.
Yes, but you do not show it. That was the key. And with me being aware of, yes, that there's those who hate my existence because I'm in their way of power. I'm aware, but I do not show it.
Was there anybody that you could confide in these thoughts and getting advice? Because, you know, who do you trust?
Well, let me put it to you this way. Who do you think I was interacting with at the time when all the politicians were at my back? The soldiers to the front. How do you think what would have happened if I was murdered, but I was reforming everything for the veterans? There would have been a civil war.
Because it had been already civil war all for 100 years. I mean, off and on, you know?
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, the military is the one that physically defends the Empire of Rome. So you have to realize that that's may be the sword, and it takes an intellect to wield, but you do not reverse that sword onto yourself. Otherwise, it would destruct the entire person who wielded that sword.
So really, was it Caesar who told Julius Caesar who told you the importance of the military, or was that something you had observed and figured out?
No one told me. It was something that I felt needed to be done. And some suggested against it. Some thought I was making sure I was well protected. They thought the military was my means of protection, not just for Rome. You see, it's my choice on how I dealt with it.
Was it easier to swallow, so to speak, because Caesar had picked you as his heir, meaning that he felt...
It is not something that you easily swallow or accept. It's something you strive for.